Hello and welcome back to 31 Days of Samhain with me, Beth, here at Spiral Path Arts, in which I share some of my favorite fall things and fall traditions and maybe a little witchy stuff here. But today we're back in the witch's kitchen. And I am going to share one of my favorite fall treats that just brings fall right to me. Today we're going to make apple cider donuts. Look at this. Just take a gander at that perfection. I want to eat it. And this evokes memories for me, sense memories for me, actual memories for me, all the good fall memories. It was a tradition for us as a family with our children to take them to the pumpkin patch and the apple orchard every year to pick out their, Halloween pumpkins and usually get some apples to make all kinds of fall apple-y treats. At the particular farm that we used to always go to back in Illinois, they would make apple cider donuts. And if you think people go nuts for Krispy Kremes when that light goes on, when those few weeks of October happen and the apple farm is open, pumpkin patch is open, and people in Kane County, Illinois, and probably surrounding counties know that the apple cider donuts are being made, you better bet that they are on it. And we were one of those people, or some of those people. Well, I haven't found a place to get like fresh out of the oven apple cider donuts since moving down south. So I don't know, because it's not really apple country down here, if that's why, because we don't have apple orchards, so we don't have cider and all that jazz. I don't know, but I've been missing it. I haven't had them fresh since moving here. So I found a recipe online, which I will link in the description. And I have pre-measured everything because you're not here for that. We're just here to share the process. So let me just tell you a little bit. I'm not going to go through all the ingredients because, like I said, I pre-measured. They're cake donuts. There's flour, baking soda, salt, baking powder, of course, cinnamon. And in this recipe, it calls for apple pie spice, which is cinnamon, nutmeg, and cardamom. Just mix equal parts together. You've got apple pie spice, or maybe you can buy it. You could also use pumpkin spice. Is this my cue to rant about my annual pumpkin spice rant? It might not be what you think it's going to be. I think it's fine. If you love pumpkin spice, you're a pumpkin spice girl, you go for it, pumpkin spice, because you go for it. If you're a pumpkin spice guy, if you're a pumpkin spice person, all the more power. If it brings you joy, you go for it. My annual rant about pumpkin spice is this. Pumpkin spice doesn't have any pumpkin in it. It is the spices that you put in pumpkin pie, i.e. nutmeg, perhaps some clove, cinnamon, maybe cardamom, those kind of fall spices. It's nothing to do with pumpkins. It's just the stuff you put in the pumpkin to make pumpkin pie. So that's the end of my annual pumpkin spice rant. All right, let's get to cooking. So I, like I said, have pretty much everything pre-measured. I haven't mixed my dry ingredients together yet, but I'll do that in a second. The one thing I've been doing here, though, off camera, is you have to take a cup and a half, oh, perfect, just like I knew what I was doing, of apple cider and reduce it, which just means put it in a saucepan and let it simmer until it goes from a cup and a half to a half a cup. And then you're supposed to let it sit and cool. I'm actually going to pop this in the fridge just to let it cool down before I mix it in with things. I'm going to start my oven to preheat. I'm going to get my donut pans out to get them ready. And then we will make some donuts. Time to make the donuts. How many of you are old enough to remember that commercial? How many of you are old enough to remember commercials? Just wondering. Okay, let's put this in the fridge, do our other stuff. So last fall, I got a craving for apple cider donuts, and I saw these Wilton pans probably at Walmart, because where else can I find anything in this town? And they had the regular donuts and the mini donut size. And I said, oh, I'm going to make apple cider donuts. Bought the cider. Everything. Well, and then I drank the cider with bourbon. That's another video. And anyway, I never got the donuts made. So my loss, your gain. This year we're making donuts. Okay? Okay. So I have my wet ingredients, and my butter and my sugars and my vanilla all in here. Set that aside. This is like my salt, my cinnamon, my spices. This is my baking powder and baking soda. Another whisk here. And I'm going to whisk these together. Dry ingredients, which are flour, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, spice, salt, all in here. Now, wet ingredients, minus the cider that's cooling in the fridge. That would be like me to make apple cider donuts and forget to put the cider in, and then they'd still be donuts, right? And they'd have some spice, but they wouldn't have the cider, which is really the key here. All right. That in. Start mixing these together. Double check your instructions. Whisk. Yes, I did that. Okay. Gotta add the cider. It's still warmish. I don't think it's going to matter because it's mixing in with colder ingredients. The butter was melted. That wasn't hot or cold. Anyway, so it says the batter should be thick. This batter is not particularly thick, but it hasn't mixed up yet. So what kind of memories, sense memories, taste memories, fall tradition memories do you have with when you were a kid or as an adult? Maybe if you're like me and your children are adults now and you don't get to do these traditions with them anymore, that you remember, that you treasure and cherish from fall, that just evokes October. I mean, October is my favorite month probably of the year, and there's so many things about October I love. One, which maybe on day 2 of Samhain, of the 31 days of Samhain, I should have mentioned. I have a cat down here. I'm going to step on him if he stays right there. Move. I guess I'd rather have him down there than on the counters. But anyhow, on the second day of October in the year 1993 at 7 a.m. and 11 minutes, I became a mother. And so this should have been part of day 2's video, but she understands. I've been her mother for 30 years. So on October 2nd, 1993, at 7 a.m. and 11 minutes, I became a mother. And it was probably the most amazing moment of my life. Now, I did it again 3.5 years later, but the first time, you never forget your first. You know what I mean? So, yeah. My love affair with October happened long before that, but that definitely sealed the deal. That's one of my favorite things about October, is that this is the month that I became a mother, and my greatest success and calling in life. And then, just the weather, the smells of leaves in the fall. There's definitely a really big shift in weather, in patterns, in daylight, and it's just as noticeable here in the South as it is in the North, but it's slightly different. In the North, we might have had some cool nights in August. Sometimes that happens, especially if further north you go. Back to school is usually in August. Into September, it's starting to feel kind of fall-like. But by October, it's usually really full-on fall. Here in the South, I can look out my kitchen window and the leaves are still green. Some of them are brown and falling, but that's because we had such a hot, dry summer. We do get leaves that change, not as striking as they do in New England and the Midwest, not those, blazing yellow maples and reds of some of the maples and the browny, goldeny oaks, all the colors, all the scents. We don't quite get that here. We get a little bit, but not quite. But the biggest change, if you've been around me, especially this summer, the biggest change is our air conditioning finally turns off for a minute. It gets cooler at night. It's 87 degrees outside right now, and it is October. This is one that is being filmed in October. So, we don't get the full autumn experience, but there's still a marked feeling of something different. The light changes, the trajectory of the sun. I almost have my own little Stonehenge type thing. We'll see what it does. It doesn't do it on solstice. It seems to do it on the equinox. That my front hallway, my center hallway, my front door face due west. And at the equinoxes, the sunset tends to be straight down my hallway and out my front door. But I'm going to pay more attention to that as the seasons go on and see, because by solstice, the sun is as far south as it can go, and my house doesn't face that direction. It faces due west. So it makes sense that the equinox, that's where the sun's going to set. Those are some of the little seasonal things that I have noticed. My favorite shade of blue. I don't know what the Pantone number is or the Pantone name of it is. I know it when I see it, and it is October sky blue. And when I see that shade of blue, I can't help but be taken back to our house in Illinois. We had a big circular front driveway, and for many, many years, we had a huge, tall hickory tree, shagbark hickory tree, just inside the circle driveway. And when my kids were really little, wonderful fall days, they'd get out there and they'd ride their bikes around in the circle and their, rollerblades and play outside and all the things in the front yard. And I would sit in the chair in that little flower garden underneath that tree and look up at the sky, and the brilliant yellow leaves of that hickory against the blue sky was just a special color combination. I can't even bring it to words, but it is a visceral feeling when I see those colors. So those are some of the reasons I love October, and apple cider donuts are right up there. So the oven is ready to go. Oh wait, this cat is going to get smushed. I think he's doing it on purpose. Okay, we're gonna prep these donuts. I'm just gonna start with the full-size donuts, and then if I have just a little bit left, I'll make some mini donuts. All right. And I'm going to put the batter somehow or other without making a mess, hopefully into this Ziploc bag, because I don't know where my pastry bags are at the moment. And then I'm going to cut the corner off. This would be handy if I had somebody else to help me do this, but come on. And if you're watching this and you're freaking out about all of the food safety rules that I break, just know that nobody else eats the stuff I make except for me. But I do try to have a strict rule of no cats on the kitchen counters. But if you've ever had a cat, you know how well that usually works. But I did clean everything. I cleaned everything real thoroughly before I start cooking, in case there's cat on my counters. Did you need to know that? I don't know. You know what? That's good enough. Good enough for who it's for. How often are you going to hear me say that this month? Okay. So we're in here. I'll take a little bit of the air out of there. Make it squeeze better. And I'm going to get a pair of scissors and cut a corner. Of course, the only bags I have are these ones that have the pleated bottom. Oh well. How many donuts is this recipe supposed to make? 12 to 14 donuts. Okay. Maybe I will do the minis. Because I'm guessing there's a dozen minis in this pan and 6 regular. I have a feeling I might be able to get just the same amount. Gosh, I wish there was a way I could cut this. I don't know how I'm going to cut this corner and have it work, but we'll figure it out, won't we? It's what we do around here. We figure it out. Usually there's a couple extra F words in there while we're figuring it out, but I'm trying to keep it clean for y'all. All right, so let me move you around here so you can see what I'm doing before I make a huge mess. So, I'm gonna squeeze. I don't know how much to do. Something is farting at the top. Okay, well. Now, the recipe says that if you don't have a donut pan, and why not? Why don't you have a donut pan? Doesn't everybody? No, not everybody. That you can make these as muffins in muffin tins, or with or without muffin liners. You just cook them until they're muffiny, and then I would put like a streusel topping on them. Oh yeah. I might have to find a friend. Take these to somebody tonight. Because I don't really need this many donuts in my kitchen. Trying to convince a lot of people to move to Selma. Maybe if I promise them apple cider donuts, people will move to Selma. More people will move here. Okay, let's see what that does. Looks a little low. Give us a good idea where we're at. Now I'm going to put these in the oven for, let me look, 10 to 11 minutes, or until the edges and tops are lightly browned. So, 10 minutes. I'm guessing the minis are going to take a little less because they're small, you know, heat transfer and all that jazz. Science. All right, well, we'll put a timer for 10 minutes. And I'm going to go wash the sticky off my hands and clean up some of my dishes. And then I'll come back in, for me, what will be 10 minutes, and we'll take a gander at those and bring them out whenever they're done. And then do the rest, and we'll have donuts. How about that? Donuts. The donut dance. How would a donut dance go? Do the donut. Roll your, no, you don't roll donuts though, but donuts could roll. Is this the donut dance? I don't know. And you'd think I'd already started making cider cocktails, which is next on the agenda, but you'll have to come back another day for those. Yeah. Okay. I got a kitchen to clean up. See you in a few minutes. First batch is out of the oven. I'm going to let them just sit for a second, and then I'm going to flip them out onto the cooling rack. When they get cool enough, we're going to coat them. So let's see what happens. So these are the minis. On the back side, of course, they have that little donut indentation, but they puffed up. So they're like little, oh, that would be good. They're like little mini muffins. Some of them have holes through the top. But you know, it would be delicious if I had some. Melt some caramel in there. And then you've got, oh. All right, we're going to dump these up. See what happens. See if I can burn myself one more time today. Hey, hey, hey. Those look like donuts. Okay, so now, while I let those sit just a skosh, I'm going to fill this back up again and, you know, do another batch. Do another batch. Y'all, sorry for that vertical section of recording. You wouldn't be watching Beth on Spiral Path Arts if she didn't, you know, make some goof like that. So anyway, I have my melted butter and my sugar and spice and everything nice mixture sitting over here to dunk these donuts. You know, not them. These are better than theirs. Anyway, I'm gonna fill these up and put these in the oven, then we'll come back and dunk. Okay, so you don't need to watch me fill a tray again because I already did it. Yeah. You also don't need to listen to me explain to my own brain out loud what I need to do. But if you know, you know. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, so let's do the donuts. We are going to start, I think, over here. And you're just, oh, I think I have tongs. I know I do. Yeah. Just dip them in the butter and then toss them in the sugar. And then in the sugar. And then set them here. Ah, I just poked a hole in my holy donut. Okay. Maybe I don't need the tongs. They're not hot. I just don't want to get my fingers all sticky. But it's definitely quicker to use my fingers. And I guess butter isn't sticky, is it? So what am I talking about? And if I get sugar and butter on my fingers, guess who doesn't care if she has to lick her fingers off to clean them? Oh, yeah. So there you have it. Apple cider cinnamon donuts. I'm going to taste one and see if they're any good. Mm-hmm. A little hot mulled cider on a cold fall day. Be perfect. But since it's a 87-degree fall day here in Alabama, it's going to be a cider donut and maybe some cold cider or iced tea. Iced tea with everything, right? There's some good stuff right there. There's anything dipped in butter and rolled in sugar is freaking delicious. But that's extra special. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good stuff. Mm. All right, well, I got another batch in the oven. When they come out, I'm going to have more donuts. I'm going to have to call some neighbors and see if they're home and they want some donuts. But you can freeze these. And I might freeze a few of them. We'll see. We'll see if they make it through tomorrow. I'm also going, this is the weekend I'm not going to be home again. I'm going dog sitting for the weekend. So I'll be nearby, but I won't be home. And since I'll be in somebody else's house, I think having some donuts to eat tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but over the weekend would be kind of nice. So maybe a little bag to a neighbor or friend, and then the rest I'm going to keep and eat this weekend or put in the freezer. Yeah, that's the beauty of making your own. You always got a little extra to share. I've got sugar all over me. Pour some sugar on me. No, we don't need that. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of this, and I will see you tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? You want to see those cocktails tomorrow? You ready for cocktails? Depends on what day this comes out. Because it might be another craft project. Who knows? That's for me to, well, not really know, because I don't know. It's for me to know and you to find out, but it's for me to figure out and you to find out. So I'll figure it out and you'll find out tomorrow. But thanks for being with me today. I wish you could stop by and I would make you a bourbon and cider and give you a donut. But since you're not here, well, you're going to have to make your own. And the link will be in the description for the recipe that I used. So, see you then. Bye.